Good evening, my name is Garrett, and welcome to The Last Call. Tonight's final drink is from Rogue. This is their Dead Guy Whiskey, American single malt whiskey, coming in at a 40% ABV. Now for full disclosure, I reached out to Rogue for a review sample. They were kind enough to send this over for us to take a look at and a review, so just keeping that transparency open. So Rogue is actually based out of Newport, Oregon, where they've been brewing beers since 1988 and distilling spirits since 2003. And after listening about their story, man, I have to say that this is a beautiful example of not only craft beer, but craft whiskey. Now that story essentially goes off, one of the owners was kind of driving around looking for a place to set up a pub, and ended up in Newport, Oregon. Rainstorm made him pull over and stop to grab something to eat. While he was sitting there enjoying his meal, the owner of the restaurant came up and goes, "Hey, what brings you to the area? What you doing here?" kind of thing. And he's like, kind of looking for a place to open up a pub, open up a brewery, get things going. And she says, "Hey, good news. I actually own some buildings that you could probably set up in without any problems." And he's like, "Oh, well, that's ironic." She goes, "But I have two rules. Rule number one, feed the fishermen. Essentially, give back to the community. The whole community itself thrives on its fishermen, and they have tons of people out there doing that. Though the community itself is fairly small. So the community itself wants to make sure that they all stay tight-knit and help each other out where they can. And rule number two, have a naked picture of her on the back bar." So he goes, deal. And the brewery itself was started up in Newport, Oregon. And to today, they still adhere to both of those things, which actually ties back into how Dead Guy Whiskey started off. So one of the local Mexican restaurants reached out to Rogue and said, "Hey, we want to do something special for our event coming up here soon. Let's do a whiskey." And so they go, "All right, let's do it." And it was such a big hit, especially being called Dead Guy Whiskey, that they decided to keep it around. Now, the cool thing about Dead Guy Whiskey is not only is it aged, distilled, bottled by them, but they're using 100% two-row malted barley, which is actually the same barley they're using in their beer side of things, just obviously with a different yeast to increase the alcohol. Now, up until recently, they were actually taking the craft another step and coopering their own barrels for everything. Currently, that project's on hold, but they might be starting that back up here soon, so keep tight for that information. Now, the other cool thing is their rick houses themselves are actually several yards away from the ocean, which is why they have the ocean aged on the front of the bottle. So kind of thinking about how Scotland and Ireland and some other regions are essentially right next to water their whole lifespan of being in those barrels. Now, to also note out real quick, this bottle itself has no age statement, but after talking to Rogue for a little bit, they are going to be moving and transitioning all their bottle lineups to holding age statements. So with all that great history about Rogue and the spirits themselves, let's jump into the bottling. I will say, gorgeous setup. I love this. Again, you got the ocean age on the front here, the Dead Guy on the back, and all these are actually hand bottled themselves. They put their own labels on by hand. Again, they are doing craft, in my opinion, to the zenith point to me. And I love their topper too. So, as always, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, hang around for a bit, become a member if you'd like. If you're interested in some other reviews from Rogue that I'll be doing, links to those videos will be up above and down below, along with a link to their website so you can check them out for yourself, order some bottles if they do ship to your area, or just keep an eye out for them. Oh, there we go, big pop. Wow, that is weighty. That's awesome. I love toppers. Alrighty. There we go. Beautiful golden color, like almost like a raw honey. Yeah. Gorgeous. Alrighty, let's go for notes. Ooh, that is different. Okay. So right away, you definitely get that malty kind of barley note. Little grain forward on that. And then it opens up, giving you a bit of the charry wood notes going on, a little bit of vanilla. And I'm getting, my brain is picking out a citrus note in here. My brain wants to say Paloma, but I don't know why. Maybe I'm thinking more grapefruit-like, because there is almost like an IPA maltiness in here. And when I have an IPA beer, I tend to find a lot of like grapefruit in there. A little bit of homemade caramel. The chariness is very light. However, you do get a bit of like almost like a cedar or a sandalwood kind of note. And I don't know if this is being projected because of where it's being aged in the rick houses, but I am getting like a pinch of salt in there. But overall, no ABV, nothing harsh, no off notes. Just a really solid American single malt with some crisp, clean notes. Ooh, what was that? Hold on. That's like rose petals. Like a freshly picked rose from the flower shop. It's not super pungent in that, but there's a light floralness in there. And it's just as I pull the glass away, I start to find that. But overall, I'm digging the nose, and I'm hoping the palate brings it across as well. Let's find out. Yeah. Get a lot more of the chariness on the taste. Wow. Barley is showing up. A lot of sweet grains, barley dustiness in there, a little waxiness, and like a cocoa note. Yeah, there's like a cocoa, maybe a bit of cinnamon and nutmeg going on as well. Definitely the cedar note that I was picking up on the nose is coming across more in the taste. That is different, and I like it. I've been on an American single malt kick lately, and this is very much off the beaten path of a lot of American single malts out there. And I'm digging the different. Yeah, there is definitely almost like a grapefruit sweetness in there, maybe a dash of tart. There is a bit of oakiness in there, which is nice because it kind of lifts it up and gives it a little more darker characteristics than just all sweet and grains. The linger on the palate has a bit of pepperiness in there with that cedar note and this like freshly grated cinnamon stick. Definitely, I'm going to lean heavily on saying there's like a grapefruit sweetness on there. I'm even finding it here in the finish. Their process on doing this, top notch, because I'm really digging this sip. I will be curious once they start getting some older stock on these on how much changes over time. Oregon isn't ever going to get the deep, heavy oaky impacts because of their climate. And being next to the ocean itself, it stays at a very kind of mild temperatures overall. And it comes across in the taste. The soft complexities they're able to get across in here versus your big, bold, brash bourbons that Kentucky or even here in Indiana can bring. This is in a league of its own. It's got such a unique palate to it for an American single malt. And here in the late finish, as I'm talking, it's actually giving me reminiscence of finishing my pint of an IPA beer. That's fun. All right. Well, let's talk about a grade for this one. So, typical pricing can be right around that $55, $56 pricing from what I can find. Sometimes less, sometimes more, just depends. That gets a solid B+ in my book. It's a very different American single malt. I love the complexities, again, that they can bring across for their climate. I think that the idea of taking what is already tried and true to them, that barley coming from the brewery side, and bringing it over to the spirit side, does wonders. I think that if you're up in the area or you can find one of these, definitely experience what they're bringing. That's a gem to really check out for yourself. Highly recommend if you can try it, give it a go. And again, if you're interested in learning more about Rogue, a link to their website will be down in the description area below. Go show them some love. So yeah, there you have it, folks. Rogue Dead Guy Whiskey, American Single Malt Whiskey. If you have any questions about the bottle itself, let me know down in the comment section below. I will do my best to answer it. And if you have any specific spirits I should go looking for, also let me know down below. Love doing these reviews and sharing with you the experience at home. And as always, may your last drink of the night be the best one.
You know, I even like it might not.